All right, I'm going to talk about circles and semicircles, circumference of circles, area of circles, and we're going to do the same thing with semicircles as well. Just really quick reviewing parts of a circle, we have the diameter that goes through the center from side to side, and we have the radius that is half of the diameter. Circumference is all the way around, the distance around, and then area would be the shaded spot in the middle, the area. So how do we find circumference? Circumference is that we would take pi times diameter. So I'm always going to write my formula. So circumference is pi times diameter. Since my diameter is given here, then all I'm going to do is do pi times 3. I'm going to use the pi button on my calculator so that it's accurate, and then I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. So I get 9.4 inches. Circumference, since it's just the distance around, then it's just in our units inches. Here I have an 8-inch radius. If my radius is 8 inches, then that means my diameter is 16 inches. And I'm going to use that for circumference, pi times diameter, or 2 times my radius times pi. So my circumference is, I'm going to use that pi button times 16. And then when I get on my calculator and rounding to the nearest tenth, I get 50 3/10 inches. So that's how you find circumference. Area, here's our formula for area, pi times radius squared. I'm always going to start with writing my formula, pi times radius squared. And when I look at this circle, this is my diameter. So if 3 is my diameter, I have to first calculate my radius is 1.5. So my area is pi times 1.5 squared. I can put all this in my calculator, or I can follow order of operations and do 1.5 squared times pi. And when I calculate this in my calculator, I'm going to stop and round to the nearest tenth. So 7.1 inches squared, since I'm talking about radius. So my units are squared. Or since I'm talking about area, sorry. Area equals pi times radius squared. So my radius here is 8. So I have pi times 8 squared. That would be pi times 64. And when I put that in my calculator, I'm going to round and get 201 1/10 inches squared. Because in your calculator, you get 201.06, and it keeps going on. So I'm going to round correctly there to the nearest 10. Now let's talk about that. I want you to pause here, and I want you to find the area of this circle and the circumference of this circle. So I want you to pause, and I want you to try both of these. Find the area of one circle and the circumference of the other, and then if you would like, in addition, you can find the area and the circumference of both. But right now, pause. You should have gotten the area for the orange circle. My area is 28 3/10 inches squared, and the circumference of the green circle is 12 6/10 inches. So I can use my formula. Area is pi times radius squared. My radius here is 3 squared. So pi times 9 gave you that area right there. And circumference is pi times diameter. Since my radius is 2, my diameter is 4. So pi times 4 gives you your circumference. How about area of a semicircle? To find area of a semicircle, we're just going to use pi times radius squared, since that's area, and then I want to just divide by 2 because a semicircle is half of a full circle. So pi times, if this is my diameter, then my radius is 9. Pi times 9 squared and divide by 2. So pi times 81 divided by 2. And if you're on your calculator first going to do pi times 81, then and enter, and push enter, then leave that really long decimal in your calculator and then say divide by 2. So we get an area of 127 and 2/10. Now's where I would round to 2/10. Okay, so that's just how we find area. Using our same formula, but dividing by 2. Okay? Circumference, we got to think of one more thing. If I have my half of a circle, then I'm going to find my circumference and get half, this half right here. But, because that would be my full circle, but I'm going to divide by 2, so do this divided by 2. However, what about this right here that I have to add on? So to find circumference, I'm going to do pi times diameter, but then I'm going to add on the diameter after I divide by 2. So pi times diameter divided by 2 plus the diameter again. So let's do this. Pi times 18 divided by 2, but then I'm going to add on that circumference of 18, or you could do this all separately. So I get a total of, well here, first of all, to do just circumference divided by 2, I get 28.3. And then if I add on the diameter, I get a circumference of my semicircle of 46 3/10 inches. So don't forget to add on that diameter there. And again, since it's a semicircle, we're taking half of it. Replay this if that didn't make sense to listen to it again. Okay, so what if we want to find the area of this shape? I have a semicircle and I have a rectangle. So first, to find the circumference, or not the circumference, sorry, to find the area of the circle, of the semicircle, pi times radius squared gives me my circle, so divide by 2. So I get pi times, what's my radius? If this is my diameter, then my radius is 5.5. So pi times 5.5 squared divided by 2. So that gives me area is pi times 30.25 divided by 2. And when I put that in my calculator, I get 47.5. That is just the area of my semicircle. Draw a little picture so I don't forget. Centimeters squared. Now let's find the area of the rectangle. That is just base times height, or length times width. So I'm just going to do 11 times 20. That's going to give me 220 centimeters squared. So if I add the area of the rectangle plus the area of the semicircle, I add those together, then I get an area of this entire thing of 267 5/10 centimeters squared. So that would be my final answer of the area of this shape. Replay any of this that you would like to go over.